Welcome to the Meadowlands, and in the Sulky, I'm Justin Horowitz with the first trainer ever to reach $100 million in earnings, Ron Burke, still a relatively young man in the game, just 45 years old. Thanks for being with us tonight, Ronnie.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we have another big weekend on tap for the Burke Brigade here at the Meadowlands. Only 16 in to go, but probably none more highly anticipated than your freakishly fast world champion, Mission Brief, who makes her 3-year-old debut tonight. She ended her year here in style in the Breeders' Crown, but that 50-3 world record at Lexington is still probably one of the coolest things we've ever seen.
Yeah, it was one of the highlights of our year last year. She had a great year, but you just don't do what she did that day, and I think that's really the ability she has. It's just harnessing it and making sure she, comes to play every night.
Now, there were some people that have been around the game for a long time that said they get goosebumps watching that performance. What did you feel like when you were watching her that day?
Lexington's an awesome place to watch a race to begin with, and then when you see her start to open it up and you're watching the timer click off and you're thinking this is going to be freaky fast. So for us, it was a very, very exciting day.
Now, as much as she's given you those kind of moments, she also makes you hold your breath whenever she races because she does have those braking issues. We saw her go off stride in her first qualifier of the season here at the Meadowlands. What happened that day?
That's really probably as much as our fault as her fault. Like we just, we were trying a different shoe with her, and really I thought it would help her. When I warmed her up, I didn't like her. And, she actually did that warming up, so, I wasn't as surprised as maybe I should have been.
Now, you changed the shoes, and a week later, she stayed trotting. She won in 56-2. What are you expecting tonight in her first start as a 3-year-old?
It's funny. The last 2 weeks have dented my confidence in her a little bit, but, she trained vicious this week. She actually acts like herself, so I'm sure, Yannick's going to make her do it the way she wants to do it a little bit more tonight and let her roll on, so hopefully she'll be more like herself tonight.
Now, I don't know if you saw, but about a month ago, there was an article in the Horseman and Fair World magazine where they talked to a panel of experts that were predicting their top 3-year-old trotters going into the season. Every one of the experts put Mission Brief right on top of their standings, except one. That was Ron Burke, who's won the Hamiltonian. Not only did he not have her on top of his standings, he didn't have her in the top 5 at all, and he said, quote, "I think she went too fast at 2. What do you think about that?
I mean, it doesn't even make sense to me. What am I supposed to do, make her go slow at 2 so she'll be better at 3? That's, a ridiculous statement in my opinion. Ronnie's had great horses, and, I respect him as a trainer, but, I do all right. I'll, train mine, and I'll live with the results, how they go.
Yeah, Gurf did train the last filly to win the Hamiltonian, 1996 Continental Victory. Perhaps you will be the next to have a filly win the Hamiltonian.
Yeah, it's 20 years. It's about time for another one.
Now, last year you won the Little Brown Jug for the first time with Limelight Beach. You got pretty emotional afterwards. I think we saw some tears come out. I know that was a really big race for you to win. It means a lot to you. But of all the big races you've won, you haven't won the 2 biggest races here at the Meadowlands, the Pace or the Hambo. Is that something you think about, and is that something you really want to change?
It's funny, coming here today, I was talking about that. I always believe will win the Meadowlands Pace. I tend to get a lot of pacers, and I get a lot of top pacers. This is a rare opportunity with me for a top young trotter, so it's important to me that we do well this year. I have her, I have Habitat, I have 2 horses that are very competitive. I got a race like the slew of Tactor horses. Usually I'm on the other end of me against everybody else, but I'm part of everybody else, it looks like this time.
Now, last year, $28.4 million earned, which is just an unbelievable total. It was more than double the second-place trainer, and yet you were not named the Sports Trainer of the Year. Was that something that bothered you?
No, it doesn't bother me. Jimmy and me both had excellent years last year. He won the Hambo. I had won it the year before, so, you always want to be recognized, but it's not something that I actually ever worry about too much.
Now you're closing in on 6,000 career wins, closing in on more than $128 million in earnings. You haven't had a Horse of the Year, though. Is that something that needs to come off the bucket list for you?
Yeah, last year, what's funny, when we won Pacer of the Year, I thought, oh, we got it here, Lou. And then it was a very surprising, J.K. She's a Lady, who probably deserved it, did get it. So it is something I'd like to do. It'd be a perfect year, if this mare could do both for me, but I'm 45, I'm not 65. There will be a lot of more years for me and a lot of more chances. And my people support me pretty well, so I'm sure I'll get more chances.
Your most popular horse to date has to be Foiled Again. Obviously, that horse, just everybody loves that horse. He was Pacer of the Year back in 2011, but off to a slow start by his standards here in 2015. Give us the update on him.
Foiled had some issues. He had to actually have throat surgery. It was a minor throat surgery, but he did not seem like himself, and we kept trying to do things to fix him, and finally we just bit the bullet, and we're going to take a month and hopefully, get him turned around. But, whatever. He doesn't owe us anything. I'll never embarrass him. And but I have all the faith in the world. He trained down so good this year, he's not done.
Are we going to see him soon?
I would say by the end of the month we'll see him, another 2 weeks. Actually, I'm going to probably blow him out a trip tomorrow, and then, from there, if everything's positive, we'll go forward.
Now, Foiled Again's been one of many free-for-all pacers you've had in the Burke Brigade, and we've seen you overwhelm people with the number of good horses you have in big races. But this year, a rule was put in place that's going to limit how many horses a certain trainer can have in certain stakes races. Is that going to change the way that you plan out the schedule for your horses this year?
It did, and it already affected, I don't think, the Meadowlands to a positive. I mean, tomorrow we have a 6-horse field because basically I picked the wrong horses to put in the TVG legs, and now I've got 2 that are sitting out, and I only was able to race 1. So, it was a little bit harder for me to try to decide which horses go which place. But, as of everything else, it's not the first time we've had rules change to affect us. I mean, at the Meadows at home, they did it for years. We figure out, how to get around and, still be competitive, and we'll, continue to do that.
Now, coming up tonight, it's a relatively light night for you. You've already raced 2 horses at Chester, 2 horses at the Meadows. Now you only have to juggle horses at the Meadowlands, Yonkers, Tioga, Scioto, and Hoosier. So somehow you manage to enter dozens of horses every day online. You watch all the races on TVs, iPads, phones. You've got surveillance cameras at your barns so you can keep track of everything. And yet, when you're watching races at night, this is what we've got a handwritten piece of white paper? Yeah. Why haven't we kept up with technology with that?
The best part, everybody mocks that, and then as soon as they see it, next thing I get is, could you take a picture of that and send it to me? It truly is the easiest way. I can look down immediately, see what tracks we're in, and what time the horses are going off. So I don't care. Technology's great. It's helped me become who I am, but this still works best for me.
I have to say the penmanship on there is fantastic, though.
It's my wife's, not mine.
Okay. All right. Well, good for her that she's got that important role for you to keep it all straight. So with all the big races you've won, the records you've set, what motivates you every day now to get up and keep doing what you're doing?
I truly do love what I do. I love winning races. I love racing. It's the part that I really do love, The other parts, the business part of it, I'm not as biggest fan of, and thank God I have my mother and my father and everybody to help me with that. Really, I train racehorses. That's what I do for a living, and it's what I love.
Now, I think in any sport, especially we've seen with the New England Patriots this week, people love to cheer for you on your way up to stardom, and then once you're at the top, people love to try to tear you down. Obviously, you've heard all the talk and the whispers and the blogs and the message boards about everything. Does that affect you?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even remember when they were cheering for me coming up. So, anytime you don't get credit when you feel like that you're doing it the right way and you're doing everything you can to run as, tight a ship as possible, it's going to bother you a little bit. But, I know the people that know me and the people that are involved with me, and they believe in me, and they know we're never going to be embarrassed. We're never going to do anything to embarrass the sport or us. So, I have too much to lose to take chances or to do things the wrong way. So, the idea that I'm doing things, against the, good of the horse or the good of my stable is ridiculous to me.
Now, when you win all these races, $28 million, I mean, that is an unheard of total. I don't know if people fully appreciate how incredible the $28 million season was. Do you think people give you enough credit for the success that you've had?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I get plenty of credit, and I've always said I'll take the, credit when it's good and I'll take the blame when it's bad. But by the same thing, there's a lot of us. There's a bunch of us that are working together, my family members, and a lot of people who are now like family members to me that have been with us so long. And we're all driving for the same goal. And that, we've all bought into the same system, and we bought into what goes on. And I think that's a big deal, why we are so successful.
Now, you've set all these records. We've talked about that. What kind of is next on your list of things to accomplish in this sport?
It's funny, I really don't have anything anymore that, I die for other than winning races. I think of once in a while it'd be nice to get to 200 million, but it's not anything that I'm obsessed with anymore. I want every year to be as good as the year before it, and I'm a very competitive person, so I don't see me ever taking a step back, and when I do, it'll be a complete step out. It won't be to a smaller barn. It'll be, sayonara, I'm out.
It's interesting. Now, looking ahead to tonight, we talked about Mission Brief already in race 11, and it's funny, with all the good horses you have, especially on the card tonight, they're kind of like playing second fiddle, even though we've got a Breeders' Crown winner and a champion. So let's look ahead to the other ones, some of the other ones you have in tonight. Race 6, you've got your multi-millionaire champion, Rocklamation, in the Open. She hasn't been herself so far in 3 starts this year. Are you expecting her to be better tonight?
Yeah, like we did some vet work on her, and being honest, she's like now finally in a place where the race sets up for her. She's been in bad spots, and I knew going into the races we were in bad spots. Tonight I have a little more confidence.
7th race, Handover Bell, made breaks in her last 2 starts coming off the win at this level. The qualifier looked pretty good. Any changes for her heading into tonight?
Yeah, actually we have a shoeing change tonight. We're going with the flip-flops. But also the biggest change is back to the Meadowlands. She, gets around the turns here better than she does at other tracks, so I don't think it's as much as a problem. But I look for her to be better. I think the flip-flop might clean her up front a little bit, and hopefully the track will stay good. If it goes muddy, I don't like it as much.
8th race, you have your Breeders' Crown winner, Say It All BB. Drops out of the Open, but draws post 9. Again, she hasn't been the same as her high standards as she set before, but that class drop, how much should that help her tonight?
It'll help her, but also I thought we saw a little bit of life breathe back into her moving back to the Meadowlands last week. Yonkers was really tough on her. It did not fit her well. I maybe pushed her 1-2 start too many there before I realized it. And now we're going to have to, put her psyche and her body back together and get her going again.
Well, I really appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. We're really excited to see Mission Brief tonight and throughout the rest of the season and the rest of the Burke Brigade. So thanks for being with us and spending some time with us here tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a long time since I got to do this.
Well, anytime you're welcome to come back whenever you want. We're happy to talk to Ron Burke, my guest in the Sulky. Coming up, Wendy Ross will join me as we look ahead to tonight's stakes racing in the New Jersey Sire Stakes.